And we're also learning more about how investigators at home are playing a key role in the early hours of this investigation, especially. The brother of the suspect may live in New London, and officials say he called police there after that shooting happened. Your reporter Anna Stansfield shares how that phone call helped open up this investigation.
An act of terrorism. That's what law enforcement analyst and retired state police Lieutenant J. Paul Vance calls Saturday night's shooting.
He was trying to attack White House officials, people that run our country, and that's unacceptable behavior.
The suspect, 31-year-old Cole Allen, charged a security checkpoint armed at the White House Correspondents Dinner, greeted by a multi-layered security approach.
And it was very, very effective and prevented tragedy from occurring. And it came dangerously close, but it was prevented.
And just 2 hours after that shooting, police here in New London found themselves in the middle of this investigation after getting a call from someone claiming to be the suspect's brother. According to the Associated Press, that person was then interviewed by New London police and federal investigators. What came from those conversations was a key piece of evidence Allen had written to his family members just before shots rang out in Washington, D.C. In those writings, he described himself as a friendly federal assassin and made reference to President Donald Trump, along with complaints about the administration's actions, a critical lead in this case.
They got that information. They got it to the proper authorities. And I'm sure that the FBI and the agencies involved in D.C. have that carved out as being an investigatory path.
It goes back to the saying we've heard a million times: if you see something, say something. And in this case, Lieutenant Vance says it could make all the difference in getting to the bottom of Allen's mindset and motives. And it's why he encourages this to be a lesson for everyone, to call the police if they think something is wrong.
It could be something as simple as a suitcase in an airport or a box outside something, anything plays a role in that. Every single human being plays a role in that. And that's what happened here in our state of Connecticut.
Over the next several days, Lieutenant Vance says federal investigators will be looking through every piece of Allen's background, retracing every step he took as he made his way to Washington, D.C., and using information from his writings to family that was all discovered after someone picked up the phone. Your reporter in New London, Anna Stansfield, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.